Hey, everybody, good morning.
Uncle Warren, guess what?
Guess what? What?
I would rather listen to Dead Air than Kenny G.
I am Kenny G, or at least I was in a previous life. That's all coming up today on The Undercurrent. All right. Enough of that undersea business.
How you doing, Uncle Warren?
I'm waterlogged. I didn't get a chance to finish my cereal this morning, so I'm eating my cereal. Uh,
What what
mm,
what what kind of cereal do you eat?
I don't know. Whatever doesn't kill me.
I'm
I
in,
like
I'm
them.
deeply into overnight oats.
I bet. Well, I've been eating the Life cereal here. I
Oh,
kind
I
of
love
like the
life.
love well, I wish I did. The cereal, yes. The actual experience, not so much. But yeah. Uh, yeah. I'm as we get to be older folks, you have to worry about fiber and stuff like that, and getting enough of that. So that's what I try to do. Get enough fiber in me, and not to be crude, but to make sure the trains are running on time. You know what I'm
A
saying?
fiber one's great for that. 90 calories per serving, 4 grams, I think 3 or 4 grams of protein, 19 grams of fiber. I put it on top of my overnight oats.
Mm. Yeah. You can never have, well, I guess maybe you can't have too much fiber. The colon blow commercials from Saturday Night Live, that tells
Oh
us
Lord,
something about
yes.
too much fiber can really wreak havoc, as it were. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm real good. We got a full show today.
We do. We do. We do. We're talking about a radio station. Where is that radio station again? It's
It
in
is in Cleveland, Ohio.
Cleveland, Ohio, that college radio station, right? And it's
Yeah.
being converted to smooth jazz because
Smooth jazz.
ain't nothing better than a college radio station student likes to hear is smooth jazz. So we got that and some other stuff. We got some news here. If you want to
We
get to the
do.
news, we want to get to the newsiness of it all.
Newsy news. So what
Might
do we
as
got?
Might as well. So, starting things off here, influencers urged to steer clear of hot topics during U.S. immigration crackdown. Now, I wonder why that is. Why would they want uh, influencers to steer clear of hot topics? Hmm?
Hmm.
Avoid politics. That's the advice lawyers are increasingly giving U.S. based content creators who aren't citizens as an immigration crackdown spreads across the country. Every chance I get to tell them to scrub their vocals, even for likes and reposts of innocuous content like JD Vance or anti war memes, I do, said Jeannie Doi, DOI, an immigration lawyer who works with influencers. This is interesting. Because influencers they're influenced themselves by big bucks. At least a lot of them are. Uh, in the combative, anything goes world of digital media, internet personalities tend to gravitate towards hot button, controversial subjects, not shy away from them. But in the current political climate, lawyers are telling their clients that weighing in on topics like Palestine or the U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement raids or ICE raids in LA can come with serious risks, including unwanted scrutiny from authorities or unfriendly competitors. Yeah. So it's getting to the point now where Johnny Law is going to come up to your door and tell you about the naughty things you said, even though they were true.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, last month, KB Lame, a Senegalese Italian influencer with millions of followers on TikTok, was detained by immigration agents in Las Vegas after overstaying the terms of his visa. According to a Department of Homeland Security senior official, Lame, it's an unfortunate last name, who has partnered with many mainstream brands, including Pepsi and Hugo Boss, has since voluntarily left the country. Uh, Afterward, Bo Loudon, a conservative influencer who is friends with President Donald Trump's son, Barron, took credit for tipping off DHS, even though Lame typically doesn't speak in his TikTok videos, which come across as entirely apolitical. Loudon has since described him as a far-left influencer. Lame didn't respond to a request for comment. No one is above the law, Loudon wrote on the tweeters. Oh my God. How dare you talk smack? For many social personalities around the world, the U.S. is a desirable place to work due to the big marketing budgets of U.S. brands. That's about all there is, as well as the proximity to deal makers and casting directors in Hollywood. But for anyone with a large following on social media, coming into the U.S. these days isn't without potential hazards. In May, Hassan Piker, a popular far-left political commentator and U.S. citizen, was stopped and questioned by U.S. border agents at Chicago's O'Hare International Airport. Hey, what a great place to get stopped. About his views on Palestine, which he regularly shares on Amazon lives on Twitch. I think I just said Twitch. They have to tell about Amazon's business. In an interview with Bloomberg News, Piker said he believes DHS interrogated him to send a message to others in his position. The goal was to threaten people who might also want to speak out and go to protest regardless of their citizenship status, he said. It's a threatening environment they want to cultivate to stop people from exercising their First Amendment rights. Our officers are following the law, not agendas. DHS, I have to say it like that because they sound stupid. DHS Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs Tricia McLaughlin responded via email. Upon entering the country, this individual, Hassan Piker, was referred for further inspection, a routine lawful process that occurs daily and can apply for any traveler. Once his inspection was complete, he was promptly... Damn robots. Earlier this year, U.S. Customs and Border Protection revoked Piker's global entry privileges, a program in which approved individuals get expedited clearance on their return to the U.S. Doi, the immigration lawyer, is now advising clients who aren't U.S. citizens to avoid international travel together. At ports of entry, CBP rather, has broad authority to search and seize electronic devices of incoming travelers through the agency. Says that fewer than 0.01% of all international travelers were subject to such searches last year. How about that? It's like, what's his name in the UK? There was, what's his name? I was the Scottish guy. What's his name?
George Galloway?
Yeah, they stopped George Galloway for the same reason.
I know.
And his wife.
Yep.
Took their phone and took their laptop too. For just asking questions. Oh, we're gonna take this stuff.
Yeah.
1 in 5 Americans get their news from influencers, according to a 2024 Pew Research survey, with 27% of news influencers identifying as conservative or pro-Trump versus 21% as left-leaning. So far in his second term, Trump has directed most of his attacks on the media at mainstream outlets, ranging from CNN and CBS News to the New York Times, all of which have full-time legal departments poised to respond to such threats. By contrast, even the most popular online creators tend to have much slimmer operations, potentially leaving them more vulnerable to aggressive legal tactics. Or some people just don't know shit about the law. And yeah, isn't that funny how they try to do that? David Rugendorf, an immigration attorney, said he now advises content creators, regardless of their citizenship status, that anything they have ever posted online could be used against them. As a result, he said some are opting to delete old posts. Yeah, I guess, but it's people will find it if they really want it.
Yeah, I mean they can find it.
They can find it. This government, Rugendorf said, is particularly attuned to the power of social media and wants to counter certain positions. In other words, they want to censor. In early June, Derek Guy, a fashion critic whose popularity has soared on social media for mocking the sartorial choices of conservative politicians, revealed his own status as a longtime undocumented resident of the U.S. The lack of legal immigration has totally shaped my life, he wrote on Twitter, where he has more than 1 million followers. It has taken an emotional toll, and this legal issue hangs over your head like a black cloud. Afterwards, some conservatives suggested online that the Trump administration should kick Guy out of the country. Oh wow, yeah, that's a novel idea. Yeah, just kick him out of the country. Before long, Vice President Vance weighed in on Twitter, posting a meme of the actor Jack Nicholson nodding his head up and down menacingly. Guy didn't respond to the requests for a comment for this story. In mid-June, Mario Guevara, an independent Spanish-speaking journalist with a sizable online following, was arrested while live streaming anti-Trump protests outside of Atlanta. He was subsequently handed over to ICE. Guevara, who moved to the U.S. from El Salvador in 2004, according to The New Yorker, is currently facing deportation hearings. The Committee to Protect Journalists has said that Guevara has authorization to work in the U.S. DHS said that he entered the country illegally. Of course he did. Guevara's lawyer didn't respond to a request for the comment. Following his arrest by local authorities, ICE placed a detainer on him, DHS's McLaughlin said. Following his release, he was turned over to ICE custody and has been placed in removal proceedings. Scrutiny from immigration authorities isn't the only potential risk for politically outspoken influencers. In recent years, a growing number of large advertisers have been shying away from politically active creators, said Crystal Duncan, an executive vice president of brand engagement at Tenuity, a marketing firm. In recent months, many brand managers have grown even more wary. In general, brands have been less vocal about political and social issues since the change in administration, given shifts in the political climate and heightened polarization, said Jasmine Enberg, principal analyst at eMarketer. David Mellick-Telfer, sounds like a serial killer. Sorry. A lawyer in New Orleans, always a lawyer in Los Angeles. Never mind, he is. It said that most international influencers come to the U.S. on O1B visas under the same category as traditional entertainers. Lately, he said the U.S. State Department has been scrutinizing applications more closely and challenging them more often. They're examining everybody's social media, he said. If your number one priority is not being detained and remaining in the U.S., I would certainly not attend any protest at all. Don't do it. Don't go to bed with no price on your head. No, don't do it.
Because you can't expect due process.
No, and that's they know the power of social media too, right?
Yeah.
You know, these influencers that are reaching thousands and thousands of people, maybe not on the grand scope of like you know, people may not know who some of these people are, that may not, you know, kind of float around in the YouTube space, as it were. The normies, as I call them.
Yeah.
The ones who who listen to regular mainstream media. They've been listening to that for years. You know, and then once the division took, where you had Fox News and MSNBC, and you had your liberal slant, you had your conservative slant, and that's when, you know,
Yeah,
they had to control the narrative, right?
yeah. And I began to notice, and this was going back a couple of years ago, actually, where influencers were being pressured, even those who were not doing political content were being pressured to speak out on Palestine or offer their opinions, and there was that kind of pressure going on. And now we see that it's morphing into something, in my view, far darker. That people, who are online, even if they're here legally, are becoming very concerned about what might happen to them for expressing a political opinion, which they do have the right to do.
Yeah, they're here legally.
It is disturbing. It's a disturbing time.
If you're, well, it's the old adage, like if you're paying taxes, you should be able to pay lip service, right? You know, you're paying for that opportunity to be free in America, with your taxes, if you think about it in a monetary sort of way. You know, but you're going to see more of that, and you're going to see more of the bigger, probably some of the more bigger influencers in this space probably getting shut down like that
Well, and
too.
that's been a problem for a while. I mean, yeah, we know that some platforms do not like politics. They suffer us to be here, but they don't like politics unless it's coming from a mainstream news source.
Hmm.
That is one thing, and that's always been a problem. But I also suspect we may start seeing, and I hate to say this, but other content creators, as they mentioned in the article, going after their rivals. If they happen to know something about somebody's immigration status, and again, the person could be completely here, completely legally, but they might drop a dime
Yeah.
and say, "Hey, you might want to check this person out," and it has nothing to do with the rule of law and everything to do with tormenting a competitor. And it's not good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's very detrimental, especially if that influencer is trying to do a good thing, trying to spread the word about certain issues that people in the mainstream who watch the mainstream aren't getting that information, and they can't let it leak out any places, right? As long as they control the mainstream media, those narratives, then they have to herd the cats, as it were, in the YouTube space, because there's so many people speaking out. There's just
Yeah,
not a lot of people with a lot of followers that are worth to them, that aren't worth going after because they don't have a reach. But you get that reach,
yeah,
you rolls the dice, you takes your chances.
indeed.
Yeah.
So everybody, you've been advised. You've been advised.
Yeah, if you were like born here, even then, just be careful, uh, because
Yeah, seriously, I would be careful. They could get you for something else.
I mean, look at what's going on. They're just scooping up people left and right, and then these people have to file lawsuits later against them. But to keep them from scooping you up initially, what are you going to do? You're walking down the street, all of a sudden an ice van shows up, opens the door. These guys in masks come out. Maybe they're ICE, maybe they're not.
Yeah, and you don't know that because I mean they're not identifying themselves. That's a whole other issue here. If
Right.
somebody,
Yeah.
but anybody can do this, and it probably has already happened that people have been potentially robbed, or even worse,
Mm-hmm.
under the guise of people claiming to be ICE. Uh,
We
and
we
it's
were
been known to happen
Well,
with
we
law
saw
law
that during the
enforcement.
pandemic, right?
Yeah,
During the protests and stuff, people were being, taken off the streets in unmarked vans and cars and stuff, and it was just some scary shit. And now it's going on with ICE,
yeah,
and that's what but the main thing here is fear. They
yeah.
want
It
they
is
want
fear.
these they want influencers to be scared, and they want their listeners to be scared as well. So
Yep.
here's
And
the
they also
thing.
want to scare the platforms. The platforms
Yeah.
themselves, who have never been very good at showing the spine, can very easily say, "Yeah, we're just going to shut this person down." That could be that person's revenue stream, a way that they're supporting themselves. So it's not good anywhere around. It's not good.
Yeah. And the ease that they can shut that stuff down too is what's scary as
It
well.
is.
So, we didn't get a chance to shout out our peeps that are
We
listening
didn't.
and
Let's do
watching.
that.
We got Spirit of the Age over there on Rumble.
Yeah,
What's up,
Spirit of the
buddy? Good,
Age.
good to see you. Stephanie is here. Stephanie spoke in class today.
We got Willie
Let's see.
Bragg.
Where's Willie? Willie's up in there.
Yeah.
George, we got Peace Dove in here too. What's up, Peace Dove?
And we got Chuck's Intergalactic UFO Show.
There he is. Dead air can be delightful, but surfing tunes are better. Yes, they are. Uh, and Ed Heller in the mix too. Who's that guy? I've heard of him. I've
Oh
seen him
man, we
around.
got we got some folks over on Instagram as well. Hello. Keep in mind, if you're on Instagram, I got to go back and forth to see your comments or to see that you're there. So if you're not being recognized, hang tight. I will be back and forth to check you up. But your comments and your presence do not show up StreamYard.
Yeah, just a reminder, we are on my YouTube channel, Extra Bullet, but we're also on the Undercurrent YouTube channel, the Undercurrent
Yep.
for you, the number 4.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to subscribe, that would be cool. Like us over
I'm
there,
going to bring
hang
out the
out.
link right now.
It's
Yep.
very chill over there. It's very nice. It's cool breeze. We're on Lainey and myself. Our Facebook channels are streaming this. Her Instagram channel, and also our Rumble channel, The Undercurrent for You, is broadcasting all of our goodies here this morning for you. So hopefully everybody's having a good morning. It's nice and sunny here in Chicago. It's very
Nice and
nice.
sunny here and down in Arkansas too.
Yeah,
Also, if you want to check out our link tree, that gives you links to all of our stuff.
and we have the undercurrent on Substack too as well, so you
Yep,
can
I'm pulling
check
that up,
out
and
all the links.
you can follow along with all of our stories, all the links to our stories. Check them out yourself and decide: are we doing it right or are we doing it wrong? That's why we give you the links, so you can take control of that.
Mold us like clay, like silly putty in my case. Yes, thank you for that, and I hope everybody is doing well this morning. We got more news for you here. AI is a little bit scary. If you're using it for innocuous reasons,
Yeah,
using it for like search engines or something for unimportant stuff, that's probably not bad, but wouldn't exactly want to put your personal information in there, right? Not really a good
yeah, I'm
idea.
getting some stories lately that I'm not happy with.
Well, here's one of them. The queen of segue. I hate these stories. Look, you're gonna hate this one too. Meta will use your AI interactions to personalize ads and content. Of course they will, because they're greedy bastards. Meta, the owner of Facebook and Instagram, is fully invested in the AI business model and is adding something new. Starting December 16th, Meta will begin personalizing ads and content recommendations based on how Facebook and Instagram account holders interact with the company's AI. Have you ever messed with the Facebook AI? I don't even know what the Facebook AI is. What is it?
I don't like it because if I'm looking for something, it doesn't give me what I'm looking for. Its AI will tell me what start talking about it. It's just really weird.
Some of these AIs are not very smart. Like the one that comes with
No.
Windows, I think it's
Oh
called
Lord.
like Compass or Contact. I don't know what the hell it's called. That thing's awful. Awful. It was like 2 weeks after Theo from the Cosby Show died. Oh, Copilot, that's what it is. It was 2 weeks after Theo died, and I said, "All right, how did Theo die?" And the Copilot said, "Nah, Theo's not dead. Theo's alive." I'm like, what? No, that's you may want to tell his family, because
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
he did go to the undercurrent, if you know what I'm saying. I'm sorry, that was very bad. But he did. Well, he drowned.
Dude.
So
Dude.
you know,
Dude.
he was our age too. What's he doing
Yeah,
swimming
I
like that?
know.
Don't
Yeah.
do stuff
Yeah.
like that. Anyway, be safe in the waters. Yeah, and these AIs, be safe in the AI waters too. Those recommendations could include things like Facebook posts and Instagram reels, and of course ads based on your perceived interests. You're getting up all up in your business in Facebook. Meta said it will start notifying customers of the update today. According to the company, yesterday. They started yesterday. According to the company, the update will occur in the U.S. and most regions. The company said that interactions with its AI features, either by voice or text exchange, will help the social media platforms improve recommendations, because you love those recommendations, so that users are more likely to see content they're actually interested in and less of the content they're not. And by content, they mean ads.
Yeah.
So they don't mean like
It's
actual
yeah.
regular content.
It's been, we've known this for a while, that the social media platforms are using an algorithm to deliver your stream. You're not seeing a stream based on who's posting what in chronological order. This is why people are constantly missing news about family and friends, because they're over relying on social media to let them know if something's happened, and such as whether somebody has died or been sick or has a new baby or whatnot. And because social media is delivering up content based on an algorithm, not on what a person's preferences are by who they choose to be their friends or who they choose to follow, you're going to be getting things that are tailored for you, and this with the AI is just going to be more hyper focus. That can make it more difficult for you to get news about your family and friends, but also news in the world around you. I've told this story many times, but the point is that I've noticed that I tend to get news stories based on what I've read in the past rather than what is perhaps most pertinent or what is most new, which is why I try to read paper or print publications, because they deliver all of it. Listening to the radio, watching broadcast news will give me that information. But what's also really concerning me about the AI models is that people are using the AI models. They're giving information to the AI models as if this is somebody who is not going to reveal anything about them. People are putting in all kinds of information. Some are using models as therapists. They're actually using it for therapy. They are using it as a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And they're giving up very personal information, which that model's going to have now. It's in that model's, I don't want to call it a brain, but whatever you want to call it. And whoever is controlling that model now has access to that. That's a lot of information that they may have about you. And it could be used against you. People are willingly doing this. And also, I want to point out when we talk about some of this, like using Chat GPT as a therapist, if a therapist has a license that can be taken away, there are disciplinary boards. If Chat GPT violates HIPAA, violates healthcare privacy laws, says unprofessional things, there's no recourse. And now those who control that model have that information that could be used against you in myriad ways. And that's what I'm concerned about.
Well, they've had to put a disclaimer on a lot of these AI models too, where it says sometimes they get it wrong. Do not rely on this 100%. I don't know. I don't know if ChatGPT does that or not, but I've seen that in some places where it's just like, look, this is AI, and they may tend to get it wrong, so don't, so they may have some sort of legal coverage there. But yeah, I mean, whenever you're giving
But
out
you don't have
medical
legal
advice,
recourse.
but
That's the
you don't
thing.
have,
You don't
yeah,
have it.
well, that's the thing, and that, like I said, some of these AIs are doing the CYA with that little disclaimer at the beginning, saying, "Hey, we get kind of this stuff wrong." So when you do use it and it does get it wrong, and you go to sue, they said, "We
We told
told
you,
you, we
but
told you." But not everybody's doing that though.
yeah, but I would also say though that how do you know that it gets it wrong? Okay, it's saying we might get it wrong. Okay, that's fair warning. But if a person is putting information in there, it all seems to be reliable. The model is pulling up sources that seem to be reliable. It can be very difficult for an individual seeking knowledge to know enough to know that this thing has gotten it wrong. There's a lot. I have a lot of there's a lot of concerns here. But I'm also what I'm at this point. What I'm really concerned about is how these AIs are going to use the information that's been put into them. In this case, we have Meta. Yeah, we're using that to personalize your social media experience. How could this be used by health insurance companies, law enforcement? There's divorce courts, family law courts. This what people are putting in there, and it's being stored in there, the kind of questions, the kind of details that can happen when you're using a conversational approach, not just typing in an inquiry, but using natural language. There's a lot of nuance that can be put in there, and that could be used against somebody, and that does concern me.
Now they do have, at least in Chat GPT, I'm not sure about the other ones, where you can delete the conversations that you have with it, right? Because like every time you open it up, it starts a new conversation, and on the side, like on the left hand side, you have your list of old conversations that you've had with it. Those are definitely stored in there. Right. So
Mhm.
so Chat GPT or whoever at Chat GPT can have access to those chats, and if you got personal information and stuff like that, maybe social security numbers, God forbid, don't put that stuff in there. And then it saves it. So some people say, well, I could just go back and delete the conversations, right? Which is all well and good, but that doesn't mean that Chat GPT didn't already back up
Yeah.
a copy of that.
Well, also
So
it's intelligence. So when you and I mean, if I just type something, tippy type into say what might have been a standard search engine or something that had a database, and I tippy type in there, it's spitting out something based on the keywords that I've used in there. With an intelligent model, it's going to be different because I'm assuming that as AI, it's going to be impacted and changed by conversations and any interactions. You and I have a conversation. You and I are both changed by that. I can't take this conversation that you and I have out of my head. It's there. So I can maybe erase the search or the inquiry, but I'm assuming that model is going to have that in its circuits and will have been modified by that, and that information is going to be there, present there, whether we like it or not, just like a witness in a court case.
mm-hmm. Or you can even erase stuff from your mind and later go under hypnosis and have all that stuff revealed too. It's kind of like, well, I erased it from the hard drive. Well, you didn't quite erase it
Yeah.
from the hard drive. Yeah. So and also people need to be keep in mind too. There's really two different kinds of AI too. There's the commercial AI stuff like your Chat GPT and stuff like that. That consumers use, but then you also have your advanced general intelligence AGI, and those are the supermodels that the governments are working on to control like weapons and things of that nature, and get rid of government employees and replace them with AI. That is an application as well. We got oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say we got a lot more to talk about today, Uncle Warren. So
Yeah, we do. We got National Guard heading to a town near you probably. Cuz that's what you need. You need the government coming to your town. At least they're foot soldiers. So the Trump administration's efforts to deploy National Guard troops to Democrat-led cities has prompted a legal showdown between the White House and state and local officials. There's, I guess that's in I don't know where that is. That may not be in Portland. Illinois and Chicago sued the administration on Monday, asking a federal court to halt the federalization of National Guard troops from that state, and Texas calling the move patently unlawful. Trump has authorized 300 Illinois Guard members to go to Chicago to protect federal officers and assets. It's also like in the Blues Brothers, with the National Guard, there was said we got to protect the parade that was going on.
yeah.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott also volunteered 400 of his state troops for deployment at Trump's discretion. So in Oregon on Sunday, a federal judge temporarily blocked the deployment of National Guard members to Portland. For the second time, the decision came after the Trump administration tried to circumvent the original order by deploying troops from the California National Guard to Portland on Sunday, which led to the state of California joining the lawsuit. Trump, so and now he's talking about the Insurrection Act here. He said he was considering invoking the Insurrection Act if courts keep blocking his deployment, saying he thinks protests in Portland are really criminal insurrection. Protests are now evil.
Yes. How dare people
How
in the
dare
United
you,
States protest?
you dirty, stinking hippie out there protesting. It's who they're protesting. I don't think Trump minded when people were protesting Biden. That seemed to be okay. But you protest Trump, somebody gets a little tender.
Yeah, I feel like we have to comment on this. It's not my normal wheelhouse, this kind of major national story. But it's happening. It's happening, and I feel like they're priming us for something.
Well,
That they're setting people up against each other. They're
well,
what were you saying?
Go ahead.
No, they're setting people up against each other in this country. And I mean, it's something that is, we've got this, we've got saber rattling coming from governors and mayors. And I guess Brandon Johnson in Chicago is talking about the mayor of Chicago. He's talking about trying to arrest federal agents who don't obey what the city ordinances are. Uh, that's not going well. That should be interesting to see.
Yeah,
It is. It
if he
is
actually does it. I mean,
if he
he
actually does
talks a
it.
lot of talk, but
Yeah.
you know,
And then some people were mad at Pritzker for bringing out the state troopers. But the defenders of Pritzker said, look, the state troopers are better equipped to deal with the local population than I think he wants all eyes on everything. But this needs to be discussed. I mean, this is, um, I don't know what I'm looking at.
yeah. Well, it is a fear tactic. It's like what they're
Yeah.
doing with the influencers, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's they're scaring people. They want people to get used to seeing troops in their cities, and so that when they actually do like full on martial law, it won't be quite as shocking. It'll still be shocking, but at least you'll be used to seeing uniforms everywhere because you had been, because you were occupied basically by the United States. That's what that's all it is. It's an occupation by the United States government of a state sovereign uh, entity, you know,
Yeah.
and and people will go to court. They're going to keep going to court. And I rarely say this, but thank God for the courts in this case, because a lot of this stuff is getting knocked down, and it really depends on the judges that see these cases too. If it's a liberal judge, they have a tendency to knock it down. If it's a Trump Trump judge, obviously they're going to let it stand. Although there was something yesterday that went to the U.S. Supreme Court and got shut down. I can't remember what it was, but I think it had something to do with that. But um, yeah, it's all fear tactics. How scared are you? Basically, what's happening now is a test of people's bravery to
Yeah.
see what they're willing to live without, what they're willing to fight for, and who they're willing to fight. What steps are they going to take? Are you just going to sit there and take it? Or are you going to try and change the system? Because that's the only thing you can do is try to change the system, right? Because, I mean, if you vote for the same people over and over again, they're just going to do what they're told, right?
Yeah, they're going to do what they're told. Or particularly since I think many of them have also been compromised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that's my own suspicion when it comes to certain individuals in the government. But it is disturbing to see people cheering for effectively the invasion of states and cities within the United States.
Right.
This is disturbing. And there was a woman who was shot in the Chicago area. She was protesting, and she was part of a protest. And uh, she was shot. She's apparently, I think, been released from the hospital. But there was a bunch of people, protesters, who were boxing in the ICE agents. I've seen video of neighbors coming out to try and intervene with somebody who was being detained. Uh, it, it it's it. I've not seen something like that. I've been around for 56 years. And to see this is not just on a local basis. This is a federal invasion of the states and cities without any request for help. When there's a disaster, yes, the governor can ask for can request help from FEMA, and that's fine. But that's not what happened in this case.
Right.
We have cities and states saying, we would like to handle things on our own here. Please leave us.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting to see stuff that we saw in dystopian future sci-fi movies back in the 70s and 80s, where you have, just like troops on the streets. You're seeing riots and stuff everywhere. You're seeing,
Yeah.
all kinds of mayhem and stuff that we didn't see when we were kids. I
Yeah.
mean, there was stuff when we were kids,
Oh
but
yeah.
it
Oh
wasn't
yeah.
not on this national grand level where they had such control through electronics and stuff like that, right? You couldn't really control people back then. You had the television and the radio and the newspapers for your propaganda. Now you have the little phone, and yeah, it's easier to get to people. But there's more of us too. And
Yeah.
there's more people who have figured out that a lot of what the U.S. is peddling is BS. So, but let's move on. We got other
Yes,
stuff to get
we
to.
do.
Steak and Shake. What
Oh
the
Lord.
what the hell's going on with Steak and Shake here? Steak and Shake is installing the tallest and biggest American flags that they legally can at every single location across the U.S. Steak
Yeah.
and Shake. Okay. Steak and
Yes.
Shake. Steak and Shake is kicking their patriotism into high gear. Better not have any illegals on there. They'll still deport you. Just saying. Happened with a guy. He had a Trump restaurant. It was a Trump themed restaurant, and he was apparently a quote unquote illegal, and he got booted, even though he was a Trump fan. So just keep that in mind, their fan base. The restaurant for their steak burgers and known for their steak burgers and tasty milkshakes have found themselves in a news in a lot lately. Oh, I wonder who wrote this.
Yeah, it's
In
not
the news. Yeah, it's maybe one of their kids wrote this. That's
probably
mainly due to,
AI actually, but yeah.
or AI's kid. That's mainly due to decisions they made with their casual dining establishments, like deciding to fry all of their foods in 100% beef tallow, and also opting to roast Cracker Barrel when they were going through that whole "we're going to change our signs, logo, and interior design" thing. This is from whiskyriff.com. Probably drinking too much whiskey. They need to lay off so they can write. The burger and milkshake joint jumped down the throat of Cracker Barrel early on in the outrage cycle and put out a couple different statements condemning the changes they were making. When they did that, it was a little out of left field, and they took things to the next level when they put up a billboard in Nashville that spelled out "Fire the CEO" in what would have been Cracker Barrel's new logo and font before they changed things back. No one knew who put it up at first until Steak and Shake came out and said they were the ones responsible for fiery billboard calling for Cracker Barrel CEO Julie Massino's job. Yes, we are responsible for this billboard. Cracker Barrel's board has failed its shareholders. It has spent over a decade fighting with one of the largest shareholders rather than collaborating for the good of the company. Cracker Barrel has been on the forefront of the DEI movement. At the same time, it has reduced food quality and burned millions on failed acquisitions. The board apparently has more regard for DEI than ROI. That's return on investment. Now we are running a proxy contest at our own expense to fire the CEO. Biglari is doing the work left undone by the board. Fire the CEO, save Cracker Barrel. Save Cracker Barrel. That's the last we've heard from Steak and Shake on their Cracker Barrel rivalry, which they kind of created themselves. As a customer, I never imagined seeing a Duke, North Carolina-esque hatred between the two dining establishments, but here we are. It appears that Steak and Shake has moved on from the Cracker Barrel fiasco, at least from what we know, to focus on bettering their own brand. One new thing the franchise will be doing is erecting flagpoles. And the biggest American flags that are allowed by local governments at all their locations across the country. Kind of like the middle-aged guys who buy the red sports car because they're lacking in certain areas. Considering there's just shy of 400 Steak and Shakes spread out all over the United States, that'll come out to be around 400 lightning rods. I'm sorry, flagpoles and flag installations in the upcoming month, and it's all in an effort to continue to let customers know that they have strong support and uphold American values. As they explained on social media, the flag installations have begun at Steak and Shake. Every Steak and Shake is getting the tallest and biggest American flag that local governments will allow. Steak and Shake proudly supports American values and traditions and flagpoles. So there's a big giant flagpole there for some reason. Salute to them. literally. And if you're wondering why they specified that they'll be getting the biggest and tallest flags that are allowed, that's because too big and too tall of flags could lead to safety issues in the eyes of local governments. We've seen Camping World locations get in trouble, get fined, and even get shut down because of limitations on flag sizes and Camping World's tendency to fly the largest Old Glory they can find. Camping World, the bane of my existence. Sounds like Steak and Shake is making sure they handle things the right way on the front end, though flying a big old American flag shouldn't ever be wrong, so that the Stars and Stripes can fly high at every single location they have across the country. Yeah, because when I'm on the road and I'm hungry for a burger, I want to make sure there's a big ass flagpole
Yeah,
uh,
that's the
out
thing. Okay,
front.
first of all, I always loved Steak and Shake. Haven't been to one in I don't know how many years, but I always loved it. I went to school down at Illinois State, which I want to say Bloomington Normal was where or near where Steak and Shake was founded, but don't quote me on that. And I always liked their stuff. But the idea of again, you have businesses that are serving hamburgers. Um, you know, you've got businesses that are serving hamburgers that are suddenly feeling a need to assert their alliance with a particular political perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And is this what we're going to start seeing now? I mean, I know I already, if I'm looking around, I see a Tesla or one of those Tesla trucks or whatever they call them. I'm making assumptions. Are we now going to have it where the taller, bigger, wider American flag and pole are suddenly signs of a person's political allegiance, and we've got businesses either where this becomes a signal to people of where you are, and do we really want to be living in a time when you drive down the street and people businesses that are not political in nature are reinforcing where they are. It's wow.
I know.
And using a national symbol. I mean, ideally, we're supposed to all be Americans, um, but are we seeing the hijacking of certain patriotic symbols in this?
Well, it's definitely virtue signaling. You know,
Yeah.
it's just, and it's also a signal that, hey, look at me. I'm falling in line. Don't mess with my business, please. See, America a number one, Joe. You know that kind of thing. Uh, yeah, it's just the whole thing. The whole thing with the Cracker Barrel thing was stupid. If they want to change the logo, just change the logo. If they took the old guy in the barrel off of there, well, that's their business, and then their sales will reflect that. And if people start, stop going to Cracker Barrel because they changed the logo, then they'll change the logo back. That's how that works. But you go to, I mean, to have the tallest flagpole
Yeah.
is just it's just so stupid. It's if it's a novelty thing to try and draw you to their business, like maybe you have the tallest flagpole in town or something, you can make that kind of like a, oh, look at this, we got this too, but we also got like, hamburgers and stuff, that the stuff you actually came here for. I don't think you came here for a flagpole. You came here for food. And that's the thing, right? It's all virtue signaling, trying to stay
Yeah.
out of trouble, you know. Um what could be trouble though are these
It's
digital price tags.
yeah, but yeah, just rampant nationalism does not suit me. But yes, these digital price tags, some weird stuff with this. I mean, it's really coming into its own, but it's some weird stuff. And you've actually worked with those, haven't you, Uncle Warren?
Yeah, I when I worked at Whole Foods, I was a that was actually my job, was to change the prices on these things. And it's not super easy to do because it really depends on the kind of electronics that you're dealing with. Uh, but if you have like each one of these things has a code for it, right? And
Mhm.
what you're putting into it. Like for example, this Doritos Nacho Chessy, as it says here, it says Chessy. Uh, meal deal here. If the sale is $1.99, the regular price is whatever. They can always just put that. They just go into the computer upstairs and change it for that one thing, and they can just easily do it. But what does that mean for, how it affects you, the consumer? So, electronic shelf labels, digital screens that display the price of an item, are replacing traditional paper price tags in grocery stores across America. The technology can already be found at Whole Foods, like we said, Amazon Fresh, and Kroger, along with stores in Canada, Europe, Asia, and other regions. Electronic shelf labels are expected to become more common. The global market for the products was estimated at $1.85 billion in 2024 and is projected to reach $7.54 billion by 2033, according to Grandview Research. And I'll tell you why it kind of makes sense after we get done reading this, but it's definitely an industry that's looking at significant double-digit year-over-year growth for the foreseeable future, said Cullen Hendricks, senior fellow at the Peterson Institute for International Economics. That's Peterson, not Peter.
Yeah, not sen.
Sen.
Not a sen.
Walmart, yeah, it's son, not sen. Walmart, the largest U.S. retailer, has said it plans to roll out electronic shelf labels in 2,300 stores by next year. The company said the technology allows employees to update shelf prices using a mobile app, reducing a price change that typically takes an associate 2 days to a matter of minutes. 2 days? Man, they slow. The only impediment to how quickly they can change prices at this point is how long it takes the human in the loop to decide to change the prices. But some lawmakers fear that electronic shelf labels could enable grocery stores to raise prices during periods of high demand. Digital price tags may enable Kroger and other grocery chains to transition to dynamic pricing, yes, in which the price of basic household goods could surge based on the time of day, the weather, or other transitory events, allowing stores to calibrate price increases to extract maximum profit, said Elizabeth Warren, Senator Elizabeth Warren out of Massachusetts. And then Senator Bob Casey out of Pennsylvania wrote in August 2024 letter to Kroger's then chairman and CEO Rodney McMullen. To be clear, Kroger does not and has never engaged in surge pricing, Kroger said in a response letter. The labels provide us with operational data to better manage inventory. Those insights allow us to pinpoint opportunities where we can lower prices on items that are perishable, seasonally specific, or otherwise needs to be moved more quickly, including key staples. Dynamic pricing reduces food waste by up to 21%, according to a study from the University of California, San Diego's Ratty School of Management that was last revised in December 2023. Johannes Stamatopoulos, an associate professor at the University of Texas at Austin and one of the researchers behind a separate study on the topic published in June, said the facts showed there is no surge pricing currently occurring. And to be fair, there was none when I was there either, and I was never told to do that either. So but that's been a few years, so it may have changed since then. So the basic economies of grocery retail is that they want to acquire customers and retain customers. Stamatopoulos said, it's silly of them to risk upsetting you over gaining a few extra cents on an ice cream when it's hot outside. Amazon, it has no plans to utilize surge or dynamic pricing. Amazon-owned Whole Foods declined to comment. Walmart did not respond to CNBC's request for comment in the time of publication. So here's how my take on these things is: when I used them, for me, it was twofold. It was easy to change them out if there was like some sort of price increase due to there being a lack of stock at the warehouse or whatever. Sometimes you would see, if something was selling really hot, you might see it bump up a little bit. But for the most part, what this does, it also replaces paper that people use. You have to print out these shelf labels and put them in there. And so that's killing a tree and some ink right there. Whereas with these things, You don't have to do that. You can keep them up for as long as the batteries in them uh, continue to work, and you can continue to change those prices. And a lot of times they'll have it just set up like on Wednesdays, I believe. Was it Wednesdays? Was the turnover day? That's when all the new sale prices and stuff
Okay.
start in the grocery stores, right? This is with Trader Joe's too. So that's when all the new prices and stuff come out, and that's when you'll see a lot of these shelf price, these electronic shelf labels start changing, and that's where they start making. That's where they start paying for themselves in that respect. Now, as far as like surge pricing, like I said, I worked there for a while doing that job, and I was never privy to any sort of price surge or anything like that. Now, I've seen that in fast food joints in the cities, like around noontime, those prices they tend
Yeah.
to go up too, right? So it's not like it didn't happening. It's just probably, yes, they have the ability to do that in the stores. I just don't think that's happening yet, but that doesn't mean it
Yeah.
won't happen.
Well, I believe that I remember when 9/11 happened, the governor of Illinois, I think it was George Ryan at the time, came out very sternly said, "Look, if anybody starts price gouging, we're going to prosecute you, and that's it."
Mm-hmm.
And I think many states and many areas do have rules against price gouging in times of emergency and that sort of thing. I think that some of the concerns that people are having is, of course, it's replacing workers, and that can create its own, that may be inevitable, but that can happen. um, with updating the digital price tags, there's also the reality that AI may eventually do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're not even going to have one person doing all that. You're going to have AI controlling it. What could AI potentially use for that? For example, do you have a camera on the parking lot, and that's not this wouldn't work necessarily in a very large grocery store or a very large store, but it could work in a smaller store like a Dollar General or something, where there's a small parking lot where it sees better model cars are coming in there, that they might change up those prices. That sort of thing could potentially happen. And I also am thinking in terms of budgeting. You've got somebody who, say, is on food stamps or has a fixed income, and they are at the grocery store one day, they see the prices, they know what something in is. Next day they come in, it's $1 more, blows their budget. It makes it very, very easy for that to happen, and very quickly with no real notice. And so that can happen. Normally, and people still use them. They're available in newspapers as well as on websites. They still send out the flyers and the circulars for the sales. Everybody accepts that the sales are going to change. You said on Wednesday. It's usually around Wednesday that
Mm-hmm.
the pricings change. But that's consistent. We
Yeah.
know that that's consistent. This is just making that fluidity a lot easier. And again, I think that with AI, other factors could come into play with this. I'm not saying that I think it's necessarily a bad thing at all. And you're right, it's saving some trees, but you've got the batteries in there, you've got the energy being used for that. Those batteries are going to end up in landfills. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. But it is something that has changed the way people shop. Now, it's already happening online. You notice that prices are constantly going up and down online,
Mm-hmm.
but this can make it harder for people to keep track of prices in local brick and mortar stores.
Yeah, and there is the possibility for it to be abused too, like you
Hmm.
said. There and I wouldn't be. To be honest, I'm surprised they haven't had surge pricing in grocery stores already, at least with the ones that have these things too. Now, even in the one I worked at, not all the shelves had the electronic price tags on there, right? So they still had like some of your shelves that they had you know that what is it like something's about to expire or something, so they want to get rid of it so that's
Yeah,
reduced price, that kind of thing. So a lot of
clearance. Yeah.
times the clearance side, a lot of times you'll see like paper
Big yellow
tags on
tags,
those. Yeah,
actually, and
big yellow
it does
tags.
help prevent food waste. It does. I'm
Right.
constantly rating the clearance sections.
So not everything has the electronic tags, fortunately. So they can't really do that across the board in a store, at least not yet. But once they do, once they have that ability, and yeah, once they somehow integrate AI into
Yeah,
their
that's what. Yeah,
into that non-static pricing method, that's what's going to be able to control it. Like it's almost like the stock market, right? A stock it starts moving up and the price gets higher, right? So the price
right.
gets higher and higher and higher. It eventually it doesn't, and then it comes back down, it goes back up, whatever. So an AI can look at your current, real-time sales numbers, and if it sees that there is a sales surge in the store that day, the AI could see that and go, oh well, let's tick up. Let's see what's selling so hot. Let's tick that up a few
Yeah.
pennies. Something that people may or may not notice, but penny pinchers will notice even a penny rise,
And that
right?
is a concern. We'll talk about that later on in the show when we talk about the challenges to SNAP. But yeah, this is. I mean, again, it's a technology, um, and it's something that people should be mindful about.
Well, now it's time for the catch of the
The
day.
day.
Get your buckets, get your chum buckets out, folks. It's the catch of the day, and it is we're talking about college radio, right there, Lainey?
Yeah, we are. And as I used to say on my previous show, I am hopping mad about this. This story it blows my mind. It's actually blowing a lot of people's minds. It's getting national attention at this point. Cleveland State University has, as many colleges do, a radio station, WCSB. And this has been around, I think, for about 50 years. And they have been serving the community with a wide range of programming. As many of you know, people from my era and Uncle Warren's era, college stations particularly were tastemakers, and they still are tastemakers when it comes to music. In fact, we had different charts for they had the Billboard charts, and then they also had the college radio station charts, because the quality and the type of music being played were incredibly different. The other thing to keep in mind is that these are low power, almost always low power stations. So they have a low range. They really do serve the community. They're very hyper local. Now, of course, with streaming, you can tune in anywhere, but they really were very focused on serving the community and their communities. And this particular station, again and again, with a whole lot of music, a lot of alternative music, the DJs made their own decisions about what they were playing. They had talk and information shows. They also had programming in different languages to speak to various communities in Cleveland. So this is this is really a very important cultural and media resource for that community. Well, all that kind of came to a very abrupt end, and it happened on October 3rd, which is National College Radio Day.
Hmm.
And I'm actually very delighted that the College Radio Foundation did put out a statement. You can check, there's a link to it in the show notes, and you can check these out. And if you don't mind, Uncle Warren, I'm going to read it.
Yeah, go for it.
All right. The College Radio Foundation stands with WCSB and the Cleveland State community as they endure an abrupt station shutdown that has silenced student voices after nearly 50 years of meaningful, diverse programming. Removing WCSB's student programming, especially on World College Radio Day, is cruel. It's a day when we celebrate the student and community voices on college radio stations, and this decision robs students and volunteers of a vital outlet and denies underrepresented communities access to trusted cultural content. It is disrespectful to the volunteers who have given years and decades of their time and passion for WCSB radio and their listeners. We honor the legacy of all who gave their hearts to WCSB and urge renewed support for student-run media everywhere. So essentially what happened was, and this has been happening around the country, is that whatever reason, the university, the college decided that it no longer could or wished to support the college radio station, and the administration, behind the backs of the students who were running the station — it was a student-run station. The money for the station was coming out from donors, but also from student activity fees, and it was an all volunteer student-run station. The university administration was brokering behind their backs a transfer over to a not-for-profit corporation that specializes in not-for-profit public radio stations, including various NPR affiliates. And they never bothered to tell the students about this. Now, in their defense, they were saying they were doing this under a non-disclosure agreement because it involved the FCC. Okay, that may be well and good, but students were finding out their keys weren't working. They weren't getting their scholarships. Something was up. They knew something was up. And instead of showing even reasonable transparency, or at the very least warning the student station that, hey, we're in a situation here, we may have to do this, we may not be able to be as transparent as you like because of the non-disclosure agreement required, because this involves an FCC license. Instead, the students find out in a Zoom call and are escorted out by the campus police. And they did. In fact, the station that took over this, the company that took over this, they came on in and put their own programming in over the student disc jockey who was in there talking. This guy didn't even know he'd been taken off the air until some people were saying, we can't hear you. And instead they were listening to smooth jazz. So the company that took over is IdeaStream Public Media. It's a not-for-profit. And by the way, just because something is not-for-profit doesn't mean that it's any good at all. We know this. But they decided to replace a diverse station that met the needs of the community, that had been doing so for 50 years, and replace it with smooth jazz without any warning, and a police escort for those students that had been doing all the labor.
Police escort.
Escort.
For a college station. Come on. That's crazy.
Yeah. And Neilio, yeah, you're absolutely right. The college radio station was a place for the students to get real life job experience. Now, IdeaStream is saying, oh, we'll do that for the students as well. But you know that they're going to be under the control of a corporation that has shown actually that it has no integrity at all. But they're also going to be, they're going to be in internship type positions. They're not going to necessarily be getting the kind of really hands-on decision-making options that you get when you're at a free-form or reasonably free-form student-led station. Also, keep in mind, college stations are not always staffed by students who want to go into broadcasting. Some do, and that's fine. But the culture there is also the idea of community media, not necessarily professionals coming in or people who want to spend their lives doing this, but folks who want to share and share music, support the community. And so there's a different ethos in these college-run stations. Again, and the fact that they did it on National College Radio Day, it shows me that both the university and the corporation that took this over are completely out of touch and have no real respect for the college experience or the medium. And one more thing I do want to say also, what kind of example are they setting for young people here? This is how you do business? Mm-hmm. You dismiss people in a Zoom call and give them a police escort, and don't interrupt a young person doing their job, hosting their show, and don't even tell them that's happening?
I mean, I was going to say, well, that's Cleveland for you, but I don't know. I want to blame Cleveland, but it's like, I don't think that's it. I think it's just, it's like out of touch. Definitely out of touch with the spirit of college radio too. right? Like you
Yeah.
said, not everybody that gets a job at a college radio station is going to be a broadcast uh, major or anything like that. I mean, I was, but that's how I got my start. I got practice at the radio station there, and that led to a paying gig, and that's how you do it. That's how, and it's fun. It's fun, free work for yourself
Yeah.
too. You know,
Yeah.
you get to, especially if you get control of your own show, you know, you can control what music you play and stuff like that, be your own program director kind of thing. And it gives you that diversity. Everybody comes in, everybody else got their own flavor. You gonna throw smooth jazz? Who the hell likes smooth jazz besides who the hell likes smooth jazz? I don't know anybody.
Elevator operators, I guess. I don't know.
But yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
It's like the influencers that we were talking at the top of the show. It's like it's non-offensive, right? There's no calls to action in smooth jazz music, whereas in college radio you may have play some songs that might kind of radicalize you a little bit. We can't have that either, right? We can't have you radicalized thinking outside the box and stuff like that. That's crazy talk, right?
Yeah, yeah. I think we have you learn a ton of relevant skills. Like in my day, how to make cartridges or read advertisements. Absolutely.
Man, you old too if you throwing cartridges up in there.
Oh man.
That's the thing, yeah. Those cartridges were just like 8-track players. If people don't know, you had your commercials, and sometimes you had your song. Like I worked at a station that had songs on the carts. We just called them carts, and you just pop in the cart for the next tune. You know, you had your little things. The technology has changed so much too. Now you don't really,
but yeah,
you know.
I was just going to mention that as a community station, also they were doing broadcasting in different languages, which is something that community stations can do, and that's fantastic because immigrant communities, even if they're fluent in the dominant language, that people love to hear radio in their own language. And so they have trusted voices, people they feel they have trust. We're in a very low trust time, particularly for immigrant communities. And when you pull that away from people, that's a real issue.
It will be the greatest when the tide of all this irrational kneecapping of society's future finally turns. Yeah. Well, I mean, I hate to be that guy, but I think space rocks is probably going to be the only way we'll get any concrete change that's immediate. But then again, you're having to deal with falling rocks. But
or falling concrete.
Well, you know, and you talking about being able to broadcast in different languages and stuff too. A lot of college towns are made up of diverse people. You have
international students and professors.
International students and professors from all over the place that you know, depending on what kind of college you have. You know, I went to an agricultural and engineering college, right? Which was kind of silly to get a broadcasting degree from, but it was Mississippi State, go Bulldogs, Hail State. So, and yeah, and that's the thing, like college radio, you not only get music, you get all kinds of information about the town that you're living in, sometimes the state that you're living in that you may not get on the mainstream media as well, too.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of times they want to keep those kids quiet, hence smooth jazz in the mix. So that's good stuff there.
I'm glad to see it getting the attention that it really has been getting a great deal of attention, and that does make me happy.
Yeah, and as someone who did college radio themselves, like I said, it's I have a special place in my heart set aside for that too. The dying art of radio in and of itself is fairly sad, but folks like us, we're trying to keep it alive. Us old radio heads. So, well, we've got some recurring stories, the recurring tide.
We do
that we need to get to today
we
too.
Do.
And let me see if I can do this. Oh, I already have that up. Okay, good. So this is regarding Snap.
Yep.
So,
previously known as food stamps. And again, this has
right.
been one of my stories that I focused on a lot on my previous show. And it did a little recap here. Food stamps or SNAP is one of the more visible benefits out there. People don't take out coupons anymore, but they do take out a little card and they pay with a card that most people, if they're looking, can identify as an electronic benefits card. And I think for that reason, it frequently comes under attack by conservatives and various, nosy no-gooders who want to restrict access to food stamps, who want to restrict what kind of foods people can purchase with food stamps. And it has been this ongoing battle where the lawmakers or activists or whatnot will speak up and they'll natter on about this. What historically has happened is that the big grocery companies have used their lobbyists to fight this because they're getting a fair amount of their income through people using their SNAP benefits in stores. And I want to remind folks with SNAP benefits, food stamp benefits, that can only be used on food. You can't use it for diapers, feminine hygiene products, over-the-counter medicines. It can pet food. It can only be used on food for human consumption, and usually it can't be a hot food either. There's been some experiments with letting people buy hot foods, but just put that aside. You have to be able to buy food. So historically, the grocery lobby has always fought the government on trying to change what kind of foods people can buy with SNAP. Well, now you've got Kennedy and Maha um, coming in and saying, well, we need to restrict the foods that people are buying. We have to restrict to things that we think are healthy, which is in itself subjective, and I'll get to that in a second. What I will say is I think the grocery industry at this point kind of has their back up against the wall with all the tariffs. And it may be that we're not hearing so much from their lobbyists on this particular point. And okay, we got some good stuff coming up here. Yeah, we got some great comments. Chuck and Spirit of the Age, absolutely. But one of the things that's happening is they're basically trying to say which types of food you can buy. Now, this is, again, as I mentioned, it is subjective because what is a healthy food depends on a person's diet, their culture, and their ability to safely store or prepare that food. Were you going to say something, Uncle Warren?
Mm-mm.
Okay, because you were saying something. But and the problem is that not everybody has the ability to actively store food. They may not have the ability to appropriately cook. So they might buy a food that we don't think is healthy because that's what they can eat. That's what they can store. That's what they can put in their backpack, or if they're living in a tent. One story I tell is about a gentleman elderly gentleman, legally blind, using a wheelchair. He was making himself a meal. Now, oatmeal is a healthy food. I eat it myself every single morning. What happened, though, is he couldn't prepare it properly, ended up giving himself terrible burns, ended up in the hospital. And by the way, while he was in the hospital trying to recover, they couldn't, the welfare department couldn't contact him, and they cut off his food stamps. But this isn't, again, this man may have been a healthier option, may have been something that was easier to prepare, that he didn't need to heat up. So we're getting into an area of extreme subjectivity. Right now, for example, in states, they're trying to prevent people from buying any form of soda, even if it is diet soda with no sugar in it at all. And it should be noted that there are some studies that show that diet soda consumption can be helpful in weight loss and maintaining a healthy weight. And I can bring those up at some other point. That's not the focus what we're talking about here. And things like iceberg lettuce, which are very nice for crunch and as a vehicle for salad dressing, have very little nutrient benefits, but nobody's questioning a person's right to buy iceberg lettuce or seasonings, which again do not really offer any nutritional benefit. Now, what is going to be happening here is if all of these restrictions go through, stores are going to have to update their labeling. and their point of service, because certain foods will not be purchasable using the electronic benefit card. The person can use cash or regular money, but they cannot use their EBT cards. And this could cost retailers up to $1.6 billion to make these changes. Now, this is something that, again, the major grocers can accommodate. It's going to be very difficult for some of the smaller shops to do this, because they're going to have to re-identify every product in their store and trying to figure out a way to either code it, or even if you've got a really small store that's operating with a regular cash register and does not have a point of service, thing where they can scan, they're going to have to find some way to identify which items can be purchased with SNAP benefits, or they're going to have to go off the SNAP benefit program entirely. They will no longer be a merchant. The other thing to keep in mind is this is going to require a lot of compliance. So this is just one reason why the virtue signaling around healthy foods in the SNAP program is not particularly healthy for communities.
All right. Well, let's get to the second part here about zombie second mortgages. That's interesting. Zombie mortgages are mortgage debts that you might have thought were forgiven or satisfied long ago, but still exist. You want to talk about this?
Yeah, so this is another story that I've been reporting on for several years, which is the idea of zombie debt. This is a debt that a person may think has been discharged, that is beyond the statute of limitations for using the courts to get a judgment, or that a person thinks this judgment has been canceled. So Bloomberg, unfortunately, that's behind a paywall, but you can find the article in our Substack in our show notes. Recently reported on several cases in the U.S. where people have lost their homes due to a zombie mortgage, and a company attempting to sue the homeowners for either back mortgage payments along with fees and interest. So here's what's happening. Some people were taking out, some people took out some time back, in some cases years ago, were taking out second mortgages on their homes. When they couldn't pay off that second mortgage, the lender came in to foreclose. But if you remember, we had that foreclosure crisis a while back, and there were so many homes that were being foreclosed upon. The lenders weren't interested in taking the homes away from them. So what happened is that homeowners were getting these tax documents showing that the debt had been canceled, which they were required to pay taxes on. You're required to do that. And they saw this as proof that mortgage had been canceled, and they were just going about their lives. Then 10 years later or whatever, you have these companies that are debt collectors that are purchasing these supposedly canceled debts for pennies on the dollar, and then going back, adding a bunch of fees and interest, and going back to these homeowners and saying, "Hey, we're now your mortgage servicer on this loan. You have to pay all of this." And these individuals who are confused, thinking that mortgage was canceled, and who may be elderly, may not have a lot of money, are either just submitting to the foreclosure, leaving their homes and moving. In one case I read about, it was a family moving into an RV, or they are paying from what they have. They're paying what's being asked, without any due process or information being provided to them about whether they are actually liable for this. You do have a right. If a collector comes to you about something, you do have a right to demand documentation. And many folks don't understand their rights in these situations. So what you're also going to see, and you pulled this up, is an article from the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that does address what this is about and how it works and what a person's rights are. I'm sorry to say that the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has been gutted by the current administration. So the help that you might have been able to get, that support or help, it may not be there for you. But this is where family, friends, and neighbors can come in. And if you know somebody who is being hit by one of these, we call them bottom feeders, because that's what they are. They're bottom feeders who go out, buy debts for nothing, and then they pay $2,000 for a debt, and then they turn around and send a bill for 85 grand. Uh, we, you can tell them that they have rights, that they need to demand documentation. There are legal aid clinics that specialize in this sort of thing. If they can't afford an attorney, they may be able to go to a legal aid clinic and get help. They have a right to demand documentation for all of the paperwork. And in many cases, they don't have that paperwork. It was all robo signing, or they don't have the original documents that can show where a person is liable for all of this. It's really critical for our people to understand that just because they got an IRS form showing that a debt had been canceled, that may not be proof enough that debt was actually canceled, and that somebody could be coming back for that debt. But they do not have to surrender their homes. They do not have to clean out their savings. They can ask for documentation and get help before they take any action that's going to harm them, their family, or their finances.
That's cool. That's cool. It's excuse me. It's things like this that people need to understand, but they don't understand, and then they wonder why they're getting screwed over by certain entities and whatnot who know how to play this game, who know how to get a hold of that information too, or may may try to say, look, you didn't pay this bill when you actually did, and then they try to scam you as well. So yeah, a lot to take in there with that, and good information too that a lot of people didn't really know about. So that's why we keep coming back to these stories like this. So these stories that
it's a zombie story.
It is a zombie story if you think about it. It won't go away, and we're not going to let it go away because we have to keep reminding people of these things. So finally today, to end things on a slightly weird note, I'm always a fan of these kickers where truck spills something innocuous and people have to deal with it. So in this case, we have I'm not quite sure where this is. Let me see where this is. Damn it. Where's the thing? Oh, okay.
Franklin County, Illinois.
Yeah, it's in Illinois. Okay, good. Damn, I'm hitting the wrong button here. So overturned truck spills 46,000 pounds of applesauce. Pork chops and applesauce. No pork chops, just applesauce. On the highway. That was a Brady Bunch reference, if you didn't get that one.
I did.
So nobody, we use as a kicker because nobody got hurt. Everybody's fine except for the applesauce. Some lanes of a highway in Illinois' Franklin County were closed while crews worked to clean up the mess left by a semi-truck that overturned and spilled its load of applesauce. Illinois State Police said the single vehicle crash happened around 4:48 a.m. Monday on northbound Interstate 57 at mile marker 76. No injuries were reported in the incident, but applesauce spilled out onto the roadway. Mount Vernon-based Rick's Towing was summoned to the scene, to assist with the cleanup. I don't know why they had to put that plug in there, but whatever. The business said about 46,000 pounds of applesauce spilled out onto the roadway, the equivalent of 184,000 4-ounce applesauce containers. My God, the humanity.
The humanity.
Is this the thing? We're going to see this. Is this the... Oh, yeah. So these are the truck spilled over. The applesauce came out. And, yeah. So, do you like applesauce? Are you a fan of applesauce?
No. I like vegetables. I love most vegetables. I do not like fruit in general. It's something about the texture.
Like the grittiness of it.
It's like the mushy. It's a texture thing.
Yeah, you're probably not a pear person then either, because of that gritty kind of thing too.
I don't mind fruit flavors. It's just I don't like the fibers.
Fruit.
And I don't
Right.
know why it is, because I eat all kinds of vegetables. It's just fruit is not my thing.
Well, like a lot of the fruit has kind of that gritty texture to it, like
Mm.
pears do, apples do, to a certain extent, and some people like. What about citrus fruits? You down with the citrus?
I love fresh citrus juice.
You
I
could,
put it into dressings and in cooking and put it into,
but you
tea
won't
or
bite into a
sparkling water.
delicious orange. You won't get up and get down with the
No,
citrus. Come
no.
on, you mothers, get up, get down with the citrus. Sorry, that's a song. It was. It used to be. Uh, no, I like fruits, but I know what they're for. As long as they don't have cinnamon in it. Yes. Yeah, I'm not a fan of cinnamon. I
Mm.
mean, I like cinnamon toast, but that's kind of like its own thing. But like when cinnamon kind of like busts in on your flavor, it's kind of like somebody you invited to the party half-heartedly, but you didn't think they were going to show up. But when they did show up, they turned out to be just a jerk, and they wouldn't shut up. That's cinnamon to me. But everybody has
Yeah.
their own personal experiences with cinnamon. If you're down with that sort of thing, and I know you are. Or do you like cinnamon?
I love cinnamon.
Yeah. Do you like the cinnamon sticks? You know those things, and you just and you make
Oh
the
yeah,
cinnamon go
yeah.
all the time.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So,
There we are on Substack, Undercurrent for you.
yeah, if you want to get your reminders, we're closing out. If you want to get reminders, we send this out in the morning of the day of every Monday morning, Monday, Wednesday morning. It also has the show notes, link to the show. I will be updating it if we come up with some other links. I'll be updating that so you can have everything, so you can check out these stories on your own. You keep up with what we're doing. Also, a quick reminder that we do have also. What am I doing here? That's not the one that I wanted. We have a link tree, and the link tree. Here we are. You can find us on social media. You can find us wherever we're streaming on our link tree. Well,
Very good. And we'll be doing this again next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, October 15th. Show number 3 of The Undercurrent with yours truly and Laney P. Riding in the captain's chair. Engage, number 1.
indeed. Oh, also a quick reminder, if you have some tips on stories that you'd like us to cover or to look into, you can go to that link tree. There's a Proton Mail link. If you want some more privacy with that, there's a regular email. You're welcome to send us stuff there. But there's also a Proton Mail link. And you can also find us on social media and send us stuff as well. But whatever you want to do, we do want to hear from you. We do want to hear what you'd like us to cover. And again, if you've got ideas for stories, any news tips, please do send them on.
Yeah, and we appreciate you. Like I said, we involved the community in all our shenanigans here. So if we go to jail, you go to jail. Just make sure one of you stays clean with the bail money, because that's how that works. Otherwise, we'll be back here next week, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific time on YouTube. Rock. I always say that. I'm so used to saying Rockfin all the time now, and I have to get that out of my head. So YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and Instagram. We are all over the place. Thank you so much, Auntie Laney, for a
Thank you,
fun
Uncle
show
Warren.
today. Did you enjoy yourself today? Did you get
I
enough to
did.
eat? Did you did
I
you
did. I
did
didn't
you?
get any of
Okay.
your cereal though.
No, you don't want that. That's a lost cause. It's just mush and broken dreams at this point. But I'm still gonna eat it because Daddy
It's the way
likes.
of all cereal.
Indeed. All right, guys. We'll see. I'll be back Friday for morning extra, same time, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific time. Appreciate all y'all showing up on all the channels. We love each and every one of you. We hope you have a great, safe rest of your week. Don't, as Mom always says, watch out for the nuts. I don't. I know you're cool, but I worry about somebody else coming after you. So that's how moms are, and that's how we are. We're very motherly around here, even though neither one of us have kids. Thank God. All right, guys. See you next week. Peace.